So for my first video, I would like to share with you what I call my Tier 1 tools, which are the tools that you can see here on this edge tray. I'm going to set this down, and we're going to start with the right-hand side of it. This tray, as you can see, is a little bit more than, it's probably half an inch thick. It's oak, and it's got probably a half-inch lip that might be, I don't know, maybe 3/8 wide. And as you can see, it's on a piano hinge, because many times I have hit that with the armrest on my chair, and it has broken the old ones that I had. This is like the, I don't know, maybe the third version, and the most successful so far. You'll notice there's a spot over here that doesn't have a lip. That's so that I can get out a big brush and sweep all that crud off of there. I guess I could do some measurements of it if I had a tape measure, but I don't. I guess I should have one of those laying around for these kinds of videos. So anyhow, really the measurement isn't, it's as big as you can get it and still have room for what you need to do. This one here I cut short a little bit so that I had room for this pencil holder, and I've also got a it's called a bench pin that fits here for using a jeweler saw. Actually, I might as well get that out. It's right here, if you'll just bear with me. So this is a bench pin. It's just a crummy old piece of wood with a V cut in it and a hole that the old C-clamp goes into and fits down into there. And then this fits onto here. And then the item that you're going to saw goes there, and you hang on to that. And then you use your saw like this, and you cut your features into it. And that just provides you with a firm base to work against. And I'll go over that one later, but I just wanted to show you that the length of it doesn't matter so long as you got room to do whatever else it is you need to do. And this one, it might actually be too long for me, but I guess I just didn't want to cut the piano hinge, so I made it a little bit bigger and went with it. It's also crooked as all get out too. I didn't bother measuring something, but it doesn't matter. Like I said, it's version 3. There might be a version 4, but this one here has lasted me quite a while. So the usefulness of it is A, it holds these important tools that I use all the time. I call them my Tier 1 tools, and that's based on how often I use it. So I've got several tiers. It's always kind of changing, but these Tier 1s and probably the Tier 2s kind of stay the same. At least they have for a while. The Tier 2 stuff is stuff that stays on the bench, and that stuff I'll get into later. But for now, we'll just focus on the Tier 1 stuff. And all of it primarily fits into the tray. And the second reason I have the tray is for catching small parts that get bumped off of the table. You're doing whatever, and that would have gone on the floor, but it didn't. And really, you end up bellying up to this portion of it, so there's not much room for stuff to escape. It still does, but it's not too often. Okay, so the first thing and the main thing is, of course, the hobby knife. This one's made by Fiskars, and the first thing to go on it was the orange squishy plastic grip here, and I replaced that with a piece of it's just rubber hose from the hardware or the auto parts store. And you just take your knife in there and embarrassingly ask them to see their selection of rubber hoses, and then you have to buy an entire foot for that little bit, but then you have some for later. Also, at the end of this is a piece of zip tie so that it doesn't roll off the table. Well, it can, but it won't easily roll off the table and stab me in the foot. I have other hobby knives that are kind of going through a testing period, because this is my main one that I use primarily. However, I saw this one made by Olympia a while ago, and I've been trying it out. I kind of like the shape of it. It's got some weight to it. It's aluminum. These don't quite, if you can see that, these don't quite fit, but that's no big deal. I think it was like $3 or something. This one is a Ryobi, and it's got this top on it that I probably will not lose, like all the other ones. So I'm kind of dedicating this one as my super sharp knife, the one that I only use for stuff that I need it to be really sharp for, such as bare metal foil and decals and whatnot. That's the lock on it. To loosen the grip on the blade, you fold down that piece, and the as you can see, it lets you grab a hold of it and pull it out of there, and then you tighten it back up, or you move that lever that back, and it's tight again. Then you lock it. So those are, I got this one at Home Depot. I couldn't find it. I had to ask for help, but they ultimately found it. The guy had to go climb up a ladder and made himself sweat, and I don't think he liked it, but they made a sale because I bought it. Okay, the next thing, of course, is the drill pin, or the pin vise, and I painted this one green because it blended in with other things. Oh, I know what it blended in with the hobby knife. So just to differentiate it, I painted it, and it's holding up fairly well. I kind of like when the stuff gets busted off and gets a little bit of a patina to it. So this one was made by Excel. I've worn out, I think, 2 of these. No, I'm sorry, this isn't Excel. This is a Zona. I've worn out 2 of the Excel, so I switched to the Zona. Mascot makes one that if I ever wear that one out, I'm going to try it next. But I haven't yet. What wears out is they don't grab these small bits all that great after a while. Primarily the very smallest one from our drill index here. I don't always see them in this handy little case, but if you can, try to get one of these. And then, whenever you bust a drill or whatever, you just replace it one at a time. That piece of tape is there. Oh, because that piece of tape is there because these can fall through the bottom. And then it gets all jammed up and you can't use them. So anyhow, it's pretty handy. It's better than the ones you see a lot is this kind. And those, you gotta, this thing is tough. I think one just fell out. Anyhow, I probably didn't. They're tough to get out of there. Anyhow, I mean, these are okay if you're buying to replace stuff. I might have inherited this, I don't know. But it's not as easy to use as the drill index. So that's why I go with that. Okay, further on we have the nippers, which I don't know what the brand is on these. Not that side anyhow. I don't know if you can see that. How? Here we go. IGAN CRV 330. I got them on Amazon. I think they were $15. I did have to dehorn these edges here because, as you can see, when you squeeze it, a large portion of your finger can get trapped in there, and that hurts. You don't want to do that. So I just smoothed that. I gave that a bit of a radius so that it isn't as pinchy. This wire used to bother me, used to get in my way, but I guess I'm used to it now. But anyhow, they're pretty, for $15, it's a pretty good deal. As you can see, they're fairly pointy, and they've stayed sharp for quite a while now. And I like them. The only thing that these goofy plastic things keep coming off, I got to squish them back on there. So that's that. This is a sharpening stone. Who made this? Is like a Smith's or something. I don't know. Anyhow, it's whatever sharpening stone. I can't recommend one over the other and over another one. That one has lasted me quite a while, and it's a pretty good size. Why it's in that little box, I don't know. I guess you can put it in your pocket and head out to the field or whatever. But sharpening stone is an important tier 1 tool because X-Acto blades, I mean, I just sharpen them. I sit here at the table and sharpen that up instead of grabbing for a new one. I've also got over yonder a stropping block, and that's leather with some rubbing compound on there, or some buffing compound. And you know, watch a couple videos and learn how to sharpen stuff, and you won't have to buy X-Acto blades very often because they sharpen up pretty quick, and they work just as good as whenever they're factory sharpened. One thing I did forget over here on the tier 1 tool is this tiny pair of scissors. There's nothing too awful special about them. Some kind of, probably made in Pakistan or something. Any little tiny pair of scissors. I end up using them quite a bit, and that's where they end up. It isn't something that I would consider to be a tier 1 tool, but I use it more than I thought I would. So that's where it ends up, and that's where I keep it. Now I know where to look for it. That's another important thing of having, of thinking of your tools in a level or as in tiers, in that you can identify them and keep them in their own spot, which is important because when you go to look for something, you look for them in that spot. And I know that tier 1 tools are here. Tier 2 tools are in this area and up here, which I'll show you in another video. As for this one, I'm out of time, I think. I don't know. So join me again next time, and we'll talk about my tier 2 tools. Okay, bye.